Welcome back to Consumer Update. I'm Kelly Lightbourne. Well, we all know there are a lot of plumbers out there. You see their vans, you see their commercials, but if you're like me, you don't know anything about them until it's too late. Fortunately, John Gennaro, owner of Red Cap Plumbing, is here today to give us a lot of great information. And like you said, most people don't think about plumbing until they have a problem.
Exactly.
I'm guilty of that. So I'm going to start off just because you have an interesting history in plumbing. You've been doing it for a long time. Like a lot of plumbers haven't done that. They go to a trade school, but you're actually, what, second generation plumber?
Second generation, yeah.
Tell me about that.
My father was a union plumber.
Really?
Yeah, so when the union was coming up, my dad got in it, and he retired almost 50 years plumbing.
So you've lived it. You've breathed it?
Grew up a little kid running around with mainly a shovel, but yeah.
So he put you to work?
Played with his tools and lost them, and you know, the whole kid stuff.
So you literally have been doing it since you were a kid, which I'm sure a lot of plumbers can't say.
I haven't been plumbing since I was a kid. I've been losing tools and messing stuff up since I could take it all apart. I just couldn't put it back together.
But now you can put it back together.
Now I can put it back together.
I'm saying, but you have a long history. I'm sure you have a lot longer than a lot of the plumbers out there. So that's number one. We know that we're in good hands if we call you.
You are.
Yeah, which is important because you have the history. And a lot of, like I said, a lot of people, they've gone to trade school, you know, they don't own the business. And I'm assuming when you do, you love it that much more when you've been a part of it for a long time.
The trade itself, I love. Mm-hmm. It's enjoyable, you know. I like fixing things and moving on.
Well, speaking of fixing things, what is the, I know that there's things that you can do to avoid situations. Let's get right into that because I'm all about avoiding issues. So what do you have that people can avoid?
One of the things I like to see is that when you have your plumber, whoever your plumber is that they actually have a annual inspection that they do for you.
Okay.
And in that inspection, they'll go in and check things that they're looking for that you're not, because like everybody, we don't think about it.
Yeah.
I don't even think about my own plumbing until I hear something going wrong or someone says,
or it's
hey.
overflowed everywhere and you're like, oh.
My daughter comes in, hey, it's not working. And otherwise I don't think about it either. So the inspection that, if your plumber is in the service business, he would have an inspection. And it's just, we would literally have a list and the guys go through it and they check all that stuff and they're looking for shut-off valves to make sure if you do have a problem, how do you shut it off? You want to go through and check that stuff. You want to look underneath the sink and make sure nothing's dripping or there's no leaks that you didn't notice, so it creates damage to the house.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I've been a homeowner for 20 years and I can't say that I've done anything that's like preemptive. And like usually you call when there's a problem, and a lot of this sounds like you can actually avoid your problems.
A lot of the problems you can avoid, or at least you know that you need to plan for something.
Right.
So like you have your car inspected, you know, you're having your home inspected.
So you brought something along. What is this? It looks like a plumbing device.
This is a simple example of how you can avoid a major problem. And it may be a little tough to hold, and actually. This is a ball valve, and the thing that's unique about it is this valve, when it's against the pipe, it's off, the water's off. This needs to be on everybody's home going into the house. And the reason why is you go on vacation, you want to walk outside and shut this valve off. I know I do it. So.
Well, I can tell you that my brother-in-law would have avoided a very expensive issue. They went on vacation and they came back to a home filled with water, $70,000 worth of damage.
Yeah.
How often do you hear that story?
You know, it's surprisingly weekly.
And it can all be avoided with something like this.
Yeah.
That's amazing to me.
And this valve is unique in that it is simple to operate. So when it's with the pipe, it's in the on position. Against the pipe, it's in the off position.
And so
unlike the old ones that you kind of turn that handle and you're not sure of where it's at. So I brought that because that's something simple that you could have your plumber install. We call that a main shutoff for the house. And anytime you're going to leave for a few days, you just walk out, shut that off. It's easy to operate. When you come home, you turn it back on.
It's such a simple idea that I don't know why we're not all doing it.
It's surprising how many people don't know.
I didn't know it existed.
I pick up the phone a lot of times during the middle of the day and I'll try and walk someone through finding that valve. Part of the inspection that your plumber should be able to do is go through and point all those things out for you.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you if I had a major disaster.
Yeah,
I'd be calling you going, can you just get in the car and come because I can't find anything.
And we don't think about it, but a water line that's leaking, an open water line, is anywhere from 5 to 10 gallons a minute. It'd be like taking a big bucket and dumping it on the floor.
So even if you're on a weekend vacation, could you imagine what kind of damage can happen?
I've walked into homes where it's a shame, and it happens so often that's one of the things that I think of first is we want to make sure that you have that, and if you don't, then it's something that you can address. You may not be able to install it yourself, but you can surely have it installed, and for the cost relative to what it would save you, it's one of the simplest things you can do to protect your home in case of an emergency.
One second, I love this. I mean, it sounds like you do a lot of things that are really preemptive, which kind of distinguishes you from a lot of other plumbers. But what else is there? Like, what do you guys build your brand around?
Our whole focus is service, and it sounds odd, but plumbing has so many different categories. There's the construction part of it, where the home's built. And in just the residential, there's the actual service side of it, where it's actually serviced. It's very rare to find a company that does both well. They do one or the other.
Right.
We specialize in the service side of it. So a home inspection is something that we do annually for customers, and it's a minimal cost, and we go through and check everything for you. That's part of what we do. The other thing is a true service company, any service company that you're looking for, needs to have a person live answering the phone anytime, day or night.
Yeah.
And it's surprising how many companies don't have a live person that can dispatch you a technician.
And you guys do.
And we do.
Which is huge, because like I said, you're in the middle of probably some people knee deep in water, as they say.
If that phone doesn't get answered, there should be a series of events that go on, and I'm the end of the line. So if your phone call didn't get answered, I am the guy that they call.
So we find you.
And that's how it works.
What are the two most important things that our viewers should know?
I think the most important thing when you're looking for a company is, the cachet is that you need to have a company that's insured and licensed. I feel one of the most important things is that the company actually has technicians that have been background checked and drug tested, so that when they're in your home with your family, you know that guy is clean and should be in your home.
So how do they find you? What's your website?
It's redcapplumbing.com.
That's easy.
Simple.
Well, John, a lot of great information. I can say I personally took away something from this, so I'm going to go check for my turn-off valve.
Check for your shut-off.
John, thanks again. A lot of great information. You know, if you live in Florida, there is one thing no one ever wants to hear, and that's that they have a sinkhole. But if you have one, or you're the type of person who likes to be really prepared, we'll tell you who you need to call when we come back.